All right, let's talk about upgrading your inner OS. We're going to reframe self-awareness today, so stop thinking of it as some kind of soft skill. Instead, think of it as the most critical firmware update you can run on your own consciousness, one that's specifically designed for peak performance, clarity, and, a real sense of purpose. So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to define what this inner OS even is. Then, we'll map out its core architecture. After that, we'll dive into debugging the ego's, let's call it, legacy code. Then we'll roll out a practical 5-step implementation guide. And finally, we'll look at the real performance gains you get from all this. Sound good? Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, we have to get this core metaphor right. Connecting with your higher self isn't some abstract spiritual thing. We're treating this as a tangible, necessary, and frankly overdue upgrade to your internal operating system. And, any good system is built on a solid architecture. So before we can even think about deploying an update, we really need to understand the core components we're working with here. So what is the higher self? Well, you can think of it as the optimized, high-level design of your consciousness. It's like the master blueprint, the clean, efficient, and wise core of who you actually are. It's totally free from all the bugs, the malware, and the conditioned patterns that we pick up in our day-to-day lives. And this right here really lays out the difference between our two primary operating modes. On one side, you've got the ego, that's our legacy code. It's reactive, it's full of bugs, and it's almost always driven by fear. But on the other side, you have the higher self, our optimized system architecture. It's calm, it's insightful, and it operates from a place of deep inner alignment. It's a night and day difference. Which brings us right to the debugging process. Look, any developer knows you can't fix a bug you can't find. So this part is all about using self-awareness to locate the ego's patterns, those specific lines of misaligned code that are causing all the runtime errors in our lives. Now, self-awareness isn't just one thing. It's more like a full diagnostic suite. Think of these 5 facets as the core functions in our dev kit. Conscious recognition, that's like observing your mental processes in real time. Inner alignment is where you check your code against your core values. Transcending the ego, that's the moment you realize you're the programmer, not the program. Intuitive connection is all about trusting your gut's incredible pattern matching abilities. And finally, holistic perspective, that's basically just systems thinking for your own life. And here's a perfect example of conscious recognition in action. It's that ability to see a reactive emotion, like stress or anger, not as your core identity, but just as a temporary variable. You see it, you acknowledge it, and you understand that it's just going to pass without defining your entire system. This leads us to inner alignment, and this is basically active refactoring for your mind. You look at your thoughts, your actions, and if they don't compile correctly with the clean architecture of your core values, well, you just debug them until they do. And finally, there's the holistic perspective, which is just pure systems thinking. It's getting that your personal code doesn't run in a vacuum. You're part of this huge interconnected network, and the goal is to optimize your function for the health of the entire ecosystem. Okay, so we've defined the architecture, we've got our debugging tools. Now, let's move from theory to practice with a real step-by-step implementation guide. This is it. This is the commit point. We are moving from analysis to deployment. So if you're ready to push these changes to your own internal environment, let's walk through the protocol together. All right, here's the 5-step protocol. Number 1, mindfulness practice. This is like tailing your application logs. You just observe the stream of thoughts without getting attached, without judgment. Number 2, question motivations. This is your code review. Before you commit to a decision, ask yourself, is this driven by fear or is it aligned with my core architecture? 3, track patterns. Be a great QA engineer for yourself. Find those recurring emotional bugs and the triggers that cause them. 4, engage with intuition. Think of this as A/B testing your gut. On small, low-stakes decisions, just go with that first instinct and see what happens. Gather some data on its reliability. And 5, seek feedback from silence. This is like scheduled downtime. You have to create quiet space for the system to defragment, to process, and for those really critical insights to finally emerge. So why go through all this, right? What's the real payoff? Let's talk about the ROI for actually performing this internal upgrade. Because this isn't just about feeling better, it's about operating better. At the end of the day, connecting with your higher self isn't some abstract goal. It is a fundamental performance enhancement. You are literally reducing the processing load from fear and anxiety, and that frees up so much bandwidth for creativity, for focus, and for really effective problem solving. Now look, can we put an exact number on it? No, but the change you'll feel isn't just incremental, it's exponential. The boost in clarity, in resilience, in purpose, it's absolutely profound. You're not just fixing a few bugs, you are unlocking a whole new level of processing power in your personal and your professional life. And this is the transformation we're talking about. This is what the upgrade delivers. You go from having this clunky, reactive, error-prone program running in the background to a streamlined, elegant, and super efficient solution that is perfectly aligned with a greater purpose. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to get you started on your own debugging process. If you can connect with that clear, wise, optimized version of yourself right now, what is the very first piece of misaligned code it would flag for an update? Think about it.